in with
wildland fire that was happening
the
on
other
the
fire
east
here,
side
the
of town.
Skylark fire.
When we got our first units on scene, they encountered 3 of the mobile homes that were fully involved in fire. We had propane tanks that were venting flames upwards of 50 feet in the air. Some of them were 500-pound cylinders. And with the limited resources with the other fires that were happening at the exact same time, that certainly created some challenges with us. Obviously very wind driven on this fire here that caused a lot of challenges for us, and we ended up with a total of 8 units that end up being destroyed on this fire here. Right now we're still cooperating with CSPD, UCCS, the Humane Society, and CSU on this fire right now.
Can you elaborate more on 8 units destroyed? Are those homes, mobile homes?
8 mobile homes.
All trailers?
Correct. 8 mobile homes that were all damaged by fire, and heavy damage to all of those.
Like total loss?
Correct, yeah, total loss. We did end up calling for an evacuation of the whole area right now, not only due to the fire, the rapid spread because of the wind driven, but also the hazardous materials with the propane tanks that were freely venting. So we had concerns with those and any possible explosions that could cause any further damage into the area, and concerns for the citizens. So we did end up doing a reverse 911 and evacuating people. CSPD was assisting with the evacuation and controlling the area for us.
Any injuries? Sorry. Injuries?
No injuries to any civilians that we're aware of yet. Right now we are still making an account make sure that we have everybody accounted for, just due to, like I said, the size and scope of the fire. We're still making sure that we have everybody evacuated out of all of the structures.
Lieutenant, can you elaborate a little bit more about the propane? Was that used to heat some of these units, or where was that?
Correct. Yeah, most of these homes are supplied by a 500 or 1,000-pound propane cylinder. So that is their natural source of heat that they use on those. So that's what we had that was venting.
And can you, I'm sorry if you already said this, repeat the cause or tell us what that was?
That's still under investigation. We don't have a cause or an origin on the fire right now.
You mentioned the Humane Society. Was there a lot of loose pets that were let out or anything like that? Do you know of any pet injuries at this time? Or
I don't know of any pet injuries, but yeah, there were several pets that were roaming the area that we're assuming were affected. Matter of fact, right before this press release, we just had one of our firefighters go in, and they just found another pet inside one of the homes that was still alive, that's covered in smoke and soaking wet, but they were able to get that dog out from the fire.
if those homeowners are still trying to find those pets, who do they need to talk to try and...
So they can contact the Humane Society for any that have gone there, and then we'd also have a evacuation center that is set up at the Grace Emmanuel Baptist Church on North Nevada. So they are also helping house there as well.
Were those 8 mobile homes all in one pod together and the fire sort of spread from one to another, or were there separate spots in the community where the 8 were destroyed?
So 2 separate streets, but they were all adjoining one another. So 4 on the north side, 4 on the south side.
I'm sorry if you said this already, but did you have like a containment, or do you know like containment or acreage size?
So it's not an acreage because they were all structures. We didn't end up with any grass or wildland fire at all. But right now we do have everything contained to the Skylark Mobile Home Park area. So we've got 100% containment. We're still working on just getting out hotspots. We're going to be out here throughout the rest of the night and probably into the early morning, making sure that we don't have any flare-ups.
Any estimate on when people can go back to their homes?
Not at this time. Yeah, it's going to be quite a while. I would say possibly this evening we may be able to let some in, but right now the area is not safe for anybody to be let back in.
The whole park is evacuated currently?
Correct.
Are there any other evacuations outside of the park that are neighboring that area, or are also other evacuations?
You know, that I don't know. I know when they set up through our 911 system, they initially did a geofence around the entire area right there, but I don't know the size of what they end up doing for the evacuation.
How did the evacuation go? Were you able to get people out like you wanted to?
We were. Were you guys able? I mean,
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
were successful with.
Yeah, I think we got almost everybody out accounted for right away. So
Yeah, so CSPD's got everybody out that we're aware of.
yeah, they were aware of.
Like I said, we still have those 8 units that we have not gone in to do secondary searches into, just because of the amount of fire damage that actually happened on those. They did a quick primary search on them, but as far as a secondary search inside of the structures, that has not happened at this point.
Because of the propane situation with mobile homes, are these typically something that you guys try to get to? Every fire you try to get to as fast as you can, but is that a priority because there's so many propane tanks?
Absolutely. So we do have crews that will get in and start controlling utilities immediately, especially for the affected units. They're pretty easy for us to get control and get those shut off. But we've also got CSU that's going out, and they're controlling the rest of the utilities within the area.
And just to confirm, the evacuation site is not Boston Fitness, but Grace Baptist Church?
That is correct.
Okay.
How was the wind sort of your enemy today? What has that factored into today's situation?
Yeah, all three fires that were going on today, the wind has definitely worked against us on these. Definitely sped to rapid growth, easily to get the fire moving from one structure to the other, or just fanning the flames of the isolated structures that we had for some of the other fires. Yeah, the wind is definitely a big challenge for us.
With the mobile homes being so close together, how does that pose a challenge as well to get between the mobile homes and stop it from continuing to get to others?
Yeah, so that is definitely one of the things that we always try to do is, depending on the amount of fire with one of the homes or any structure in general, wind driven or not, we always try to focus on the priority of protecting exposures. But due to the proximity of these, that does create a lot of challenges for us. So while we have some crews making a direct attack on the fire itself, other crews are protecting the exposures wherever those may be. And whether they're structures or it's vegetation, trees, propane tanks, anything that's combustible, we're always concerned and trying to make sure that we're mitigating those as quickly as we can.
With multiple fires burning today, was there ever a worry that you wouldn't have enough firefighters or staff to control the situation?
Absolutely. So we actually called in from all of our surrounding county partners. So as of right now, we've had Cimarron Hills Fire Department, Black Forest, Fountain, Cheyenne Mountain, Manitou, and Fort Carson. So all of them have come into the city, and then they staff our fire stations because all the regular emergencies are still happening throughout the city. That way CSFD was able to focus on those emergencies. At one point we only had 6 available units for the entire city, which created a lot of challenges. So that's why we have mutual aid agreements with all of our surrounding partners, and they come in at a moment's notice for us and backfill our stations for us. So there was never a point that the public or the community wasn't covered with police, fire, or any type of EMS services. We've also done emergency callbacks as the incident started happening. So we've got additional firefighters that have been called back in. Same thing with the AMR has also done emergency callback for their personnel. And I don't know if PD's done any callbacks for anybody.
We've pulled all of our detectives to be out here helping the people.
Yeah. So just cooperation amongst all of our emergency services in the county, it's really good. We've set up our emergency services, our FDOC, so we're able to communicate and collaborate with everybody that's involved to protect the city.
Clearly the area has had a lot of issues with fire danger lately. It's been a very big concern, and we've had fires sparking up over the past couple months that have been really concerning. But do you remember when the last time was? I mean, 8 structures lost is rather significant. You know, we hear about a house fire here, a house fire there, but how common or rare is it that we have 8 structures lost in a fire in the city?
Absolutely. It is rare for us to lose that many structures on one incident. Again, being challenged by not only the wind, being resource challenged with multiple fires going on throughout the city at the exact same time. The fire happening on the east side of town, that one just in itself had 26 units and 70 firefighters on scene of that one. And matter of fact, that's where this crew was initially headed to. They were headed to that fire there, made a decision on their own to deviate, come to this one because they knew time was going to be on the essence of this fire here.
How many firefighters responded to this fire?
50.
Why is it going to take until this evening to let folks get back into their homes who were evacuated? Why so long?
Well, just with the number of units, we need to make sure that everything's going to be safe with all the utilities being controlled, trying to get into everybody's house and make sure that we're managing everybody's hot spots that are in there. We get a lot of hidden fires that, inside of the walls and the ceilings, make sure there's nothing with any vegetation. And when the wind flares up, it only takes one spark to get everything going all over again.